Hey guys, welcome to our stream, part 2, Adventures of the Unseen Truth. We are going to have an interesting discussion about uncovering lies. And by the way, I am Rain, my co-host is Rebel for Truth, and our guests today are host of Spiritual Radio Nathan Lutz McCumber and Monique Lukens. Anyways, let's get started.
Hey guys, it's great to be here tonight.
Absolutely. And I'm a multi-host for the Love of Truth, the Truthers Forum, which the two co-hosts of this podcast are on a lot.
Anybody got any topics they want to suggest we start with? Anything that comes to mind, anybody?
I would actually like to talk about the Rockefeller 2010 paper. And I would like to read this to you all. Not the whole thing, but just pages 18 and 19, which talk about lockstep. And I want to know who in goodness's name wrote this for it to come out 10 years later. Like, it's unbelievable that they had this plan all along. So here we go. This is page 18. Scenario narratives, it says. Lockstep. A world of tighter top-down government control and more authoritarian leadership, with limited innovation and growing citizen pushback. In 2012, the pandemic that the world had been anticipating for years finally hit. Unlike 2009's H1N1, this new influenza strain, originating from wild geese, was extremely virulent and deadly. Even the most pandemic-prepared nations were quickly overwhelmed when the virus streaked around the world, infecting nearly 20% of the global population and killing 8 million in just 7 months. The majority of them healthy young adults. The pandemic also had a deadly effect on economies. International mobility of both people and goods screeched to a halt, debilitating industries like tourism and breaking global supply chains. Even locally, normally bustling shops and office buildings sat empty for months, devoid of both employees and customers. The pandemic blanketed the planet, though disproportionate numbers died in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Central America, where the virus spread like wildfire in the absence of official contaminant protocols. But even in developed countries, containment was a challenge. The United States' initial policy of strongly discouraging citizens from flying proved deadly in its leniency, accelerating the spread of the virus not just within the U.S., but across borders. However, a few countries did fare better, China in particular. The Chinese government's quick imposition and enforcement of mandatory quarantine for all citizens, as well as its instant and near hermetic sealing off of all borders, saved millions of lives, stopping the spread of the virus far earlier than in other countries and enabling swifter post-pandemic recovery. Page 19. China's government was not the only one that took extreme measures to protect its citizens from risk and exposure. During the pandemic, national leaders around the world flexed their authority and imposed airtight rules and restrictions, from the mandatory wearing of face masks to body temperature checks at the entries to communal spaces like train stations and supermarkets. Even after the pandemic faded, this more authoritarian control and oversight of citizens and their activities stuck and even intensified. In order to protect themselves from the spread of increasingly global problems, from pandemics and transnational terrorism to environmental crises and rising poverty, leaders around the world took a firmer grip on power. At first, the notion of a more controlled world gained wide acceptance and approval. Citizens willingly gave up some of their sovereignty and their privacy to more paternalistic states in exchange for greater safety and stability. Citizens were more tolerant and even eager for top-down direction and oversight, and national leaders had more latitude to impose order in the ways they saw fit. In developed countries, this heightened oversight took many forms. Biometric IDs for all citizens, for example, and tighter regulation of key industries whose stability was deemed vital to national interests. In many developed countries, enforced cooperation with a suite of new regulations and agreements slowly but steadily restored both order and, importantly, economic growth. Across the developing world, however, the story was different and much more variable. Top-down authority took different forms in different countries, hinging largely on the capacity, caliber, and intentions of their leaders. In countries with strong and thoughtful leaders, citizens' overall economic status and quality of life increased. In India, for example, air quality drastically improved after 2016 when the government outlawed high-emitting vehicles. In Ghana, the introduction of ambitious government programs to improve basic infrastructure and ensure the availability of clean water for all her people led to a sharp decline in waterborne diseases. But more authoritarian leadership worked less well. Oh, interesting. And in some cases, tragically, in countries run by irresponsible elites who use their increased power to pursue their own interests at the expense of their citizens. There were other downsides, as the rise of virulent nationalism created new hazards. Spectators at the 2018 World Cup, for example. So anyway, everyone, that's pages 18 and 19 out of 54 pages for the Rockefeller 2010 paper. Now, wouldn't you say that most of what I read, especially in the beginning, is now the case? And don't you feel that all of this is happening? So, I mean, they put it in the paper there. They wrote it in the past, even though it's like the future. And they're stating that after citizen pushback, that we come out, there's going to be more totalitarian, authoritarian powers, and that we're just going to willingly give up our sovereignty for more safety. And people are saying we also did this after 9/11. And I guess that is true. I mean, in airports specifically speaking, I don't know. I mean, I can't point out other areas. I mean, I want security in airports. But my main concern now is if it wasn't for the nefarious purposes behind the tracking, tracing, 5G, I'd be okay with it, maybe because like we know where everybody is. In case somebody is taken away, we can find them. But I'm concerned that this is going to be used for like really wrong things.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, for sure it is. And I guess I'm not okay with either even being tracked for safety, because that's our right as American citizens to not be tracked.
Yeah, well, I definitely know no chip implanted. And in fact, I've been against the chip in animals. In the part 1 you were talking about vegans and how a lot of them can be more into animals than humans, like their animals more. I mean, I can get it. In some ways, animals don't give people grief unless they eat them. But but the chip inside the pets, I've heard many stories where they get cancer, like a lump, a tumor around where they implemented the chip, but a lot of them say, well, we'll take the chance because it's safer to have the animal chipped than to have them lost. I mean, I'm in the minority when it comes to a few things. Like, people will balk at that if I say anything about I'm concerned about the chip in an animal. They've also balked at me for saying, oh, like, I'm concerned about spaying and neutering. If I was like on the ground and somebody picked me up and gave me an operation like that without my permission, I wouldn't like that. And yeah, I know you could say, well, it saves animals because the pound will just take them and kill them anyway. But I don't know. It just seems like Frankenstein science to like pick up an animal and give them a surgery and, tie their tubes or whatever is done. Doesn't seem right. But people will scream at me for that too in the vegan world, saying, but you'll kill them otherwise. So I definitely differ from some people in the vegan community. I am totally against pain. I don't want pro-choice. I don't want animals having surgeries against their will. I don't want chips implanted in them. I don't want like vaccines. So I'm like a purist, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, I mean, had you gentlemen heard about this Rockefeller 2010 paper before I just read this to you?
I have. Yeah.
What do you think about it? Masks, temperature checks? Doesn't that sound like right now?
I'm gonna be honest with you. What I've learned, and I've been a conspiracy theory doing research on conspiracies for like 8 years now. What I think is, excuse me, what I think is that they have been trying to take over the world for like, I would say, well, it's been in their plans like since they were born. These evil
yeah.
globalists,
Yep.
because they had a goal. Their ultimate goal was to work for Lucifer. They are of the bloodline of Cain. And I shared a video with all you guys except for Nathan. And did I send it to Nathan? I'm trying to think. The one about their masters of deception, the Luciferians.
I don't know. So you might have. I don't know.
Nathan's probably gotten so many videos like all of us. These people, they're like amazing to come up with videos so quickly, right? I've seen probably about 80 of them.
No, it's not the Luciferians that put out that video. Um, it's someone that's exposing the Luciferian agenda. So, what I was going to say is this New World Order, they've been trying to do that since day one. Now, it doesn't surprise me, the Rockefeller thing you're reading, because it's all a part of the end time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just went to a checkup today, and before I even got in the door, right as I got in the door, they took my temperature. I was like, what? I was so shocked, and they made me put on a mask for the first time I've ever. Yeah, I mean, whatever, but yeah, I didn't even. I felt so irritated putting on that mask. It just didn't seem like it was something that I either was willing to or should have done. Or you know what? I mean, I don't know. So,
I had to do it to get my hair trimmed, a temperature check, and bring, the mask. The
Guys,
mask.
we need to stick up to it.
Do you guys
We need
feel
to
like
stand up to it.
do you guys feel like it's a distraction?
Look,
Yeah.
I want to tell you all, I really don't believe that this is so bad. I mean, God forgive me if it is, and I'm just like speculating, but I think that the numbers are wrong. The tests have been contaminated. The tests give way more positive. Um, uh,
because you got right, yeah.
Yeah, and also I've seen the same number of statistics. Like there was this one number that came out, I can't remember, but I looked it up myself. I did a search and the same number kept popping up in different cities. Like someone had copy and pasted the statistic of the
33 or 333 or something.
it was similar to that, but I don't remember, Truth Seeker. I also know that there were empty hospitals from independent reporters showing that nobody was there. And look, Dr. Fauci, he said there was going to be a surprise outbreak in this coming presidency. So he knew that something had been created. And there's a patent on the coronavirus by, I think it's Bill Gates, or Pillbright. One of our podcasts, Michael Keane talks about it. But anyway, irregardless, it's SARS, HIV, and bat DNA. And if this is like what has been leaked out, yeah, it's bad. But the fact is, I believe it's mild. And unless you're really immune compromised, it's just not going to happen. And the mask, like everyone here is saying, I really do believe that it's making it worse because you can't breathe so well. And I know that one can say, oh well, if you're in surgery or if there's dust around, you have to like put a mask. Yeah, I get that because I wanted to wear a mask. I worked for UPS a long time ago. It didn't last very long, but I used to get paper dust and I would cough every day. So someone said, well, get a mask. And I did. And I remember the supervisor, he took me aside and said, you can't wear that without a doctor's note. God. I mean, because he said, well, the union, they'll want everybody to have a mask then. Oh, he didn't care about me. I left. But anyway, I wanted a mask then. But with this, I feel that we're going into places where we actually need to breathe and there's not these contaminants that they're making us fear. And I truly do believe that it's worse with the mask. I'm really believing to believe think that, cuz I thought, well, maybe I am safer with it. But then, when I heard about the satanic rituals with the masks and slaves and the hundreds of years ago, like wearing the masks or they can't talk, and the submission part of that, it really does make me think that this is like as you said, Truth Finder, not just a distraction, but a symbol. And Dr. Fauci even said, when he said it's not necessary to wear a mask, he said this some months ago. He said it's more like a symbol. I can't find that in print, but someone had said that in a video. What kind of a symbol? Like a status symbol or something darker, you know? And how come Trump wore a mask the other day for the first time?
In the
It
hospital,
did concern me. Yeah, it concerned me, and it was black,
Right.
I mean, I have a black mask too, which I got. I was wearing it before anybody else. I was concerned. But now I'm really thinking that this is just this is part of the plot, you know?
It's a
It's
stage.
really like the
It
Jewish
feels
people
like
had to wear the yellow star. The Jewish people wore the yellow star and they complied to the Nazis until it got so bad and then they were taken away. And the people that are complying are wearing the masks. And I don't know if those people will be saved or they'll be, hurt first. I hope nobody's hurt. I really do. I wish that I could be making all of this up. But I've seen too many documentaries and read too many things now to.
You're not making it up, and they're gonna. I mean, what we really do need to do, we need to stand up our ground. We need to get constitution books, and we need to go to our cities and our mayors and be like, "You're out of your bounds right now." There's still a constitution right now, so people and Christians, more Christians, need to stand up and say, "I'm not wearing a mask."
Thank God for the Constitution. I mean, we still have our Constitution.
If we use it. Hey, I'm sorry if I sound crazy, like I scream all the time, but if we use it, if we don't use it, they're gonna take it away. They're gonna try to take it away anyways.
Well, Dr. Buttar says he goes into stores, and if they say, well, you can't come in without a mask, he says that I have a medical exception. And he said if they ask for it, that's going against HIPAA rules, American for Disabilities Act, and they could be fined heavily for that. But I will tell you something. Like, I
Tell it.
also saw a video of, I think you showed it, Truth Finder, of some man, being manhandled because and going into Walmart because he didn't wear one. And look, I think that the people, it's interesting. I don't think the ones in my area are enforcing it so much. I don't hear people getting tickets. There's a lot of people in my neighborhood. They're not walking around with it, that's for sure. But I gotta tell you guys, I mean, every time I want to go to the grocery store, I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to start fighting with the guard there? Like I am not like a confronter like that. I might seem like I get all upset and whatnot, but if I want to get my groceries, I don't feel like getting into a fight, you know?
See,
So
the
I guess
problem
that's
is,
kind of holding me back. What?
the problem is if we keep letting them push us, we are going to get pushed to the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't take if you take the vaccine, you'll be able to take your mask off.
Can I
You don't
tell
take
you
the
guys?
vaccine, you won't get it.
Can I tell you guys something? I don't trust Dr. Fauci. I've been doing a lot of research, and since the outbreak happened, I'll say it once and I'll say it again. I do not trust that man whatsoever.
Doctor.
There is so much stuff showing that he's been doing all of this stuff for the New World Order, and I trust what Dr. Rashid Buttar says, but I do not trust Fauci. I think he's fake. I really do.
He is. I
Me
have you
too.
guys.
It's
Yep.
Rashid, by the way. Rashid, not Rashid. Rashid Buttar.
Rashid Buttar. And I think that we should, once things get better, I would love to go see him, and he'll probably do conferences or something. But yeah, I could show you some stuff about Fauci, but let me tell you, Michael told me he's been doing some inside research on him, and he said we got to have him back on the podcast because he flat out said that Dr. Fauci made he's the one that made the patent for the COVID or for the thing, and the other thing is he's been the way he explained it is he's been working in the laboratories, and they planned this for like 10 or 20 years before and stuff. But the thing is like they were messing with it before and then it mutated, but it's like yeah, they've been working on different laboratories, and I think Purebright Institute in England, and
Pillbright, Pillbright.
there's another one too. There's more than one Pillbrights, I think. But the thing is like they've been working, and it here's the thing: it didn't take place in Wuhan, China, or whatever. It took place in America. Okay. And Fauci is behind it, and I have a feeling he's gonna go on trial, and yeah, he's bad news, and I hope that they put him in prison. I really do. I hope that
It was made here in the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, according to Dr. Buttar, but then the technology was sold to China, and it was worked in Wuhan over there. So they did have something to do with it.
It's so messed up that he's getting away with this. He caused this. This man caused what everyone is suffering from.
I know, and there's basically no stories about what he did, It
Oh,
there
there
was
will be. I know
a
there will be.
news flash for a few days that he had given money, some millions of dollars, to the Wuhan Virology Institute, and then it just faded. And people continue to say that they trust Dr. Fauci. The
Yeah,
ones
and
that
then
do it are the progressive ones. The
they
progressive
got
ones.
bobbleheads and T-shirts and everything saying "In Fauci we trust." Can you believe that?
I know, it's unbelievable. You got to wonder if these people are being paid or they're completely mind controlled. I mean, could they be that much for a political agenda? Because I'm talking about young people. You know, Dr. Fauci is 79 years old. And I think it's a little bit odd because a lot of young people, not saying it's good, but a lot of young people kind of turn away from their elders and whatnot. You know, they think that they're old stogies, living in the past. But yet, I see so many young people that are in the progressive movement that are for Dr. Fauci. And I'm just wondering, like, are they mind controlled or are they being paid?
It's like they're making him out to be a god and worshiping him. And I mean, you like it's supposed to say "In God we trust" and under God, and under in the flag and in the Constitution and everything. It's like they're putting Dr. Fauci. I don't even say he's a doctor. He may have been in the past, but he's bad news. He's not a good doctor. He's not. What he did to us is crimes against humanity. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Absolutely.
so
Something
yeah.
like that, something like that is deserving of the death penalty. And I don't like the death penalty. But seriously,
Well,
crimes
I,
against
I
humanity,
think
7 billion people he has affected, and some of them have passed away. Some of them couldn't, people couldn't go to funerals, visited hospitals. This is serious stuff.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Like all the families that don't get to spend time with their families. I mean, that is just so wrong and cruel. And and I'd hate to be that person, guilty and the one behind this because, well, of course he don't care because he's working for, like it all has to do with the bloodlines. He's the Cain thing again I was telling you about, the bloodlines, and they're trying to, the Cain thing, they're trying to work for the devil or whatever. And they're all a part of it. I mean, Trump is the only one that I don't think is. And we'll see. I mean, we're gonna see what happens with him, but right now I don't think he is. But what I was gonna say is, yeah, they should not be worshiping him and saying, "Oh, doctor, he's the one that's helping us," because um, he's in what's it called, infectious disease. There's a lot of people that work in infectious diseases, and they put him like making him king and putting him on a high pedestal, and it's not right.
And
Right?
I believe it was his wife who made the decision that people couldn't, doctors couldn't prescribe that. I can't remember how you say it. That hydra, how do you say it?
Hydroxychloroquine, or no, hydroxychloroquine.
Or chlorine, something like that. Yeah. So now one thing that one
Okay.
sorry,
Hey,
I just want to say something really quickly.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought. Dr. Fauci. Oh yeah. So Truthfinder, you had sent me a photo, I think, of a young Dr. Fauci standing next to Mother Teresa, and it said that Mother Teresa had helped in sex trafficking children, which I really don't want to believe. But that was Dr. Fauci next to her, wasn't it?
That was him. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was him when he was young. He's been he's been a part of the global plan, a long time.
Well, some people say that he created HIV.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that was Michael that said that, right?
Yeah, he did. I mean, yes, he did create it.
That would make sense to me because it was made in a lab and it is man-made. That makes a lot of sense.
And Fauci gave money towards this coronavirus that's supposed to be bat DNA, SARS, and HIV.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And what about Ebola and SARS? I mean, what if those were also created, by a man, or created in the lab too? Right? It's possible, right?
It is definitely possible. I mean, I do believe that some disease comes from animals.
But which
know?
one? Which one? So far, they all were made in China, according
Yeah,
to
it does seem like that.
everyone.
I just know
says
I
they
got food
was made
poisoning
in
years
China.
ago from when I wasn't a vegan and I
Ah.
ate a quiche and it was sitting in the window. There was eggs in it, I guess. And I was like out for 2 days. I couldn't even pull myself out of bed. I had to crawl and throw up. And that was from rotten eggs.
Ugh.
So I definitely think that you can get foodborne illnesses, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe you're right. Maybe not a virus. Viruses might just all be man-made, human-made.
Mm.
But I mean, okay, I can't remember. I think it might have been Dr. Buttar saying that HIV was created to kill off undesirable people. And in the 80s, gay men were undesirable. He said that it worked because a lot of them were doing drugs and, having sex. So therefore their immune system was compromised and easier to get. I'm almost sure it was Dr. Buttar. I'm not positive though.
Yeah.
But there again, it's like, I mean, well, I believe people should be celibate, but irregardless, there's the whole immune compromise thing. That's what we're facing right now. The people that are contracting or supposedly contracting this, most of them are immune compromised. They have multiple things wrong with them, be it older or younger. And they have been targeting the elderly people in the nursing homes because the poor elderly people can't do anything. Some of them don't even know what's going on, for goodness sakes, They're an easy target. It's like robbing people that have passed away. You're not going to put up a fight.
Yep. I'm listening.
Well, our truth seeker wanted to say something.
Okay. I don't know what he was saying. Oh, yes, I do. Thanks. Hidden Hand. Have you guys heard of it? Fauci does it a lot. Everybody does it. Let me find a picture of it real fast.
What happened?
I'll show you real quick. Hold on. I don't know how to spell this man's name, but here it is. Okay. I just took a screenshot. Oh, I just took a screenshot of you, Monique. On accident.
Look at me. That's funny. I look like I'm a mob boss.
Oh no, I just did that. Hold on, let's do something. There he is.
How are you able to take a picture of her if she doesn't even have her camera on? I'm confused.
Because she does. She has her camera on. So
You're going to show this video. Good.
It's not a video. It's actually just a picture of him. Do you see, guys?
Yeah.
He has a hand. That's their sign.
Wait a minute. What? Is that the doctor? Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
him.
That's their sign?
Yeah.
Whose sign? What sign? What is it? I've never seen that sign.
I haven't seen that either, but
It's called the hidden hand.
the hidden hand. Can you show us another? Oh, it won't let me save that picture because it doesn't want me to share it. Oh wait, now it's working. Oh good. I thought they were gonna control it.
Let me see. And you guys said something about Trump. There is pictures of Trump doing an upside down pyramid.
Mm-hmm. He's done some symbols.
Yeah, he's in on it.
Who?
Trump?
He could have just been, acting.
No,
Like,
I don't think so.
remember when I said he said that he was in the club, the elite, with the elites, but he got kicked out, and there was like 25 assassin attempts on him. I think it was Michael that told me that too.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. He even said in his speech that I think I have the video. I don't know if you guys got to see it. He talks about how he was in the club and then how he left it, or how he left, and how he's warning everybody. He's like, we got to stop these globalists because they're trying to take over the world. He says it in his speech. And you know what else, you guys? If Hillary Clinton was president right now, she would have caused us to go to war with Korea.
Yeah.
Right? They might have nuked us if, well, I don't know if they have nukes, but they could have tried to nuke us. It got all quiet. What's going on?
Oh, I'm searching something.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just looking at something on Facebook.
On Facebook.
I'm looking at something. Let's see here. Where did it go now? Try. Oh, here it is. So there is a paper to. It says, please print these out, add your name and address them, and send them to the head of the health department by registered post. Give them 30 days to respond. Notice of conditional acceptance. This is to notify you that I am happy to wear a mask as directed, stand 2 meters apart, or participate in a lockdown on the condition that you provide the following. 1. Proof that use of such mask, social distancing, or lockdown can prevent the inhalation of substances or microorganisms at the scale of viruses. 2. Proof that prolonged use of such a mask will not cause hypercapnia, hypercarbia, or respiratory acidosis in the wearer. 3. A signed and witnessed statement from you accepting full responsibility and full commercial liability should I be subsequently diagnosed with hypercapnia, hypercarbia, or suffer an asthmatic attack or any other respiratory or physical and mental health distress resulting from prolonged mask wearing, social distancing lockdown, or being 2 meters apart. 4. A complete list of your medical qualifications. Please use the space below to provide the requested proof of claim and sign and date it. in the appropriate boxes to accept full responsibility and full commercial liability. Failure to do so will be deemed to mean no such proof exists and that you are not medically qualified to make a determination of the effects of prolonged mask use, social distancing and lockdown, or being 2 meters apart from others, and or you are not confident enough to take financial responsibility for my safety as a result of your mask, social distancing, or lockdown enforcement actions. Please provide the requested proof and medical qualifications here. Liability statement. And they have to sign, as the official enforcing the unlawful wearing of masks according to parliamentary preference, I guess this is England, am fully aware that prolonged use of surgical and non-surgical masks reduces the levels of oxygen that reach the wearer and increases the dangerous levels of carbon dioxide and toxins that are expelled via the breath. I am also aware that prolonged mask use increases the risk of hypercapnia, hypercarbia, asthma, and other forms of respiratory distress. I therefore accept full responsibility and full commercial liability should the bearer experience or be subsequently diagnosed with any of the above conditions as a result of prolonged mask use, social distancing, or lockdown. Signed in the presence of 3 witnesses. So they want, so the person's name, their signature, their address, their date, and then the witness signature and address.
Oh, well.
I think that could be used for the United States too. We should maybe, who's making this in California? Is it Newsom, or would it be our is it our health, somebody in health? Who's made the final decision? I thought it was Newsom.
I can't. I don't trust him, and I want them to fire him for reals. If we got enough signatures, could we get him ungoverned?
Yeah, there's a petition going on right now. It's due August the 1st. I have one. I only have like 4 signatures though, because I don't know what to do. Just go door to door and ask people.
How many days does it take to get him out? Like, once you get it signed and like once you get enough signatures, like how many days does it take for them to kick him out?
I'm not sure, but for some reason I think it was up to like November, the election, even though I think
So that
so.
means he has 6 more months of terrorizing the world.
August, September, October, November. 4 months.
Is he the governor of California or what?
Yes.
Has he ever been a good governor? I didn't even know about him. I didn't even know about him until now.
I met him a long time ago. He didn't help me. I told him about the Malibu incident. Everybody knows. I got ticketed for wanting to pull over in a safe, well-lit area. And I told him about it, and I said, this shouldn't be done to especially women if they're being followed by a patrol car and you don't know why. You should be able to pull over into a place where people are around. And he was the lieutenant governor at the time, and he said, "Oh, well, you'd be surprised as lieutenant governor, I really can't do anything." And that was it. He was there supporting his wife, who had just made a documentary called, gosh, what was it? It was for female rights, I'll tell you that much. And I mean, I was not impressed. I was very disappointed that he couldn't even give me his, work email that I could send the information. That was it. He didn't want to go further. Like, I don't call that a good leader. I mean, I know he didn't know who I was, but at the same time, I made complete sense. And yeah, one person that's pro Newsom, she's like, well, can you imagine if everybody's asking things from him? These are the type of small-minded ideas that come from Newsom followers. I've gotten rid of all of them on Facebook. I don't mean to sound self-righteous or know more or, bitter, but seriously, that's what's happening. I really do believe there's some sort of a political thing going on between wearing
Political.
the masks, telling people to stay at home. There's something fishy going on.
There's definitely a lot of fish in the water, that's for sure. I feel it too. I sense it. But here's the thing, thank God we have the internet, because if we didn't have the internet, we couldn't warn people.
Right.
So imagine if we were alive back in the day where everyone was just like manipulated and tricked, and there was a lot of stuff going on before our time, that was shady. And this is one of the most shadiest thing that's ever happened to the earth, to the planet.
Here, okay, so you can print the paper off of this website and you can get your own petitions and have people sign them physically. All right. Recallgavin2020.com. Recall GAVIN 2020.com.
Put it. Can you share it? Can you share it on here on the podcast so everyone can have it?
I'm putting it here. Did that show?
Okay, let's see. Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
The other thing is, you were reading something. I was gonna see if you could share that too. I'm trying to think what it was. It was
The
before.
Rockefeller 2010 paper.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share that too.
Hey, Truth Seeker, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Pretty soon we'll have to start part 3.
I think my part 3 is going to be in bed. I'll be happy to listen to you, and you can put me to sleep. I go to sleep with these documentaries of what's going on, and then it's before I know it, I'm like tossing for 2 hours. I think my favorite person to listen to is David Icke.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
David Icke. So you don't know if
Probably not mine. It's probably not mine because I like scream at on the podcast. I don't know why.
So, out of all the videos you've seen of Ike's, of David's, which one is your favorite so far? Because I mean, he makes a lot of videos. I'm like, I can't watch all of them,
I'd say the one
I can't
about
keep up.
censoring. When he talked about the censoring on London Real, I think it was.
Yeah.
You have it where you could send it to me?
I think it was the second or third one that he did. I'll have to look.
Okay. So, what do you guys want to talk about before we end part 2?
Just
Let's ask one of our listeners. What do you guys want to talk about? No, I'm kidding. Okay, so yeah, so where do you want to take us tonight or this morning? Remember how I was telling you guys about the Giants, how they're like under the ground right now, and how like they have these mountains where they look like there's giants sleeping underneath them. Have you guys
oh
seen
yeah,
these videos?
yeah. And Book of Enoch talks about that.
It does, right? Monique, I shared a lot with you, but I don't know if you got to look at it. In fact, that reminds me, I'm going to share something right now. This is a true story that I want you guys to watch. and it's about a lady. It's about a girl in China. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, I just like breezed by it. I saw maybe a minute's worth of it because I didn't have time. Yes.
When you get a chance, it's worth seeing. It's gonna like really make your faith grow like tremendously. Um, it really blessed me when I saw it.
Yeah. Oh, oh,
See, I don't want to tell you guys what happens. Like, I want you to see it. Like, I don't want you to miss it. And if I tell you what happens, the miracles, then you just already know, you know? I want you to
Please.
experience it.
Oh, please. We've experienced enough. Share your wisdom, please.
No, I'm saying I want you to see Trying to Cry.
Oh,
Even if you can't watch it all in one, I don't even know how long it is. I don't think it's that long, actually.
oh
It's less
yes,
than 2 hours.
at least 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's less than 2 hours. Rachel, or oh my word, sorry, Truth Finder, or oh my goodness, Truth Seeker. I wanted to say that is your assignment. You gotta see this movie. It's gonna blow your mind, and it's gonna really raise your faith in God.
okay, yeah, I will for sure. Yeah,
And I'm gonna put it on here for our listeners to see it too. Hold on. I hope it went through.
yeah, it went through.
Oh, thank you for sharing, David Icke. I will definitely take a look at that.
Okay, guys, we're at 52 minutes now.
Okay, you can end it, and then
Okay, stay
you can go ahead.
tuned. Part 3 is
Go on.
coming.
All right, guys, stay tuned for the next episode.
Wait. Let me put one more thing.
Okay.
Hang on.
I just want to
Okay,
thank. I just want to thank all of our listeners to this morning, and thank you for being world changers and standing with us to to expose the evil in the world. So we thank you.
One more.
I have a question. Can they click these links or no?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Okay. See
I'll
you.
just
See you in the third. The third wave. Our God wave.
That's right. This is a God thing, and we're doing it for Him. All the glory and all the praise goes to Him.
Amen.